discussing with you. Maybe kindly a continuation of each one, which will help you in your day-to-day life of an academician as part of your education. As a teacher, you'll be able to use all this part. First part, it was like using a online digital platforms like a Moodle or a Google Classrooms, or how effectively, what could be the challenges which we are facing it, how we can take this as an opportunity and use it in implementation step by step is what everyone is looking at. I don't need to give the more theoretical aspect, but still, if you think that on a March 15th or 16th time of this year, there was one flip happened. Every one of us in a regular classroom level, sudden flip made us to think about an online classroom, and online thing. The word online became a more popular, digital became more popular, and people started flipped version of their own classrooms and started teaching. Knowingly, unknowingly, required, not required, on demand, or maybe with interest, or by force of an university or institution, or the HODs, or maybe the colleagues, which are our students as well, made us to shift into this online without our proper preparation. Hope you all will agree that we never thought of making our classrooms online. We always were thinking of learning something online, and we attended maybe a few webinars or a few classrooms or a few courses. We would have done it early, but we never ever thought of we will be going and teaching a classrooms in online in a very short period of time. Maybe we would have had an idea for a longer term. Maybe 2 years later, I will do one small YouTube course, or maybe I will do one small WhatsApp video. Maybe that was in our mind, but never ever thought of doing these things. This was the one which generally really gave us an opportunity to think and know ourselves that how well we are prepared, how can we take our classrooms in an effective way. Holding our students is the most challenging part. It is now, that's why before I start, I just gave all this because of, imagine your classroom is like this. On a working day, on a weekday, in an afternoon class, between 2 to 5, you are supposed to handle your class, and how well the receiver will receive it is exactly the mindset how you are sitting right now after a good lunch and sitting and listening to someone, and don't know whether it is with what way it will affect or not. From my part, I'll try maximum best to have you in interactions and then try to give you. As and when I prefer you to react back again, you can use a chat window, or you can even unmute and you can say sometimes. I request you to come back 1 or 2 times. I'll request so that we'll also know that whether we are in the right track and what I'm covering will be useful for you in every case. First part, where will be 2 parts which I'm trying to cover up in those parts. One is the current challenges and opportunities in the online teaching platform. Not to make you too much bore, I'm trying to use a more of kind of an infographics which will help you to understand what I'm talking about with an example and a case study, as well as you need to know certain things called as synchronous, asynchronous tools which will help you in an everyday classrooms. You might have heard, I'm not telling that this is something completely new or something like beyond the magic, I'm doing it beyond the regular one. No, within which some of these things may not be directly used by us, or without understanding we have done it. That's the reason why I'm keeping on these parts. Now, why are we going into these parts now? Last 4 days, I think this is the 5th day you are sitting for a FDP, and maybe some more days you'll be going on sitting with the continuous one. Most of the resource people would have come and they would have covered in a different aspects the same thing, like one part, how do you start your class, or maybe how do you handle your class? Second is, how do you interact with your students? Then how the student interact back to you, how do you evaluate it, how do you conclude it? It runs around in the same surroundings, and it does not goes beyond that. It's the same one circle, we all running in the same one, and we are, some of us getting it, some of us may not be. So to try to bring that part into a digital or a technological aspects, since I'm from a technical background, I will try to put across, I'm also more interested towards educational technologies, bringing in aspects of non-computational people. People always quotes that say, you are a computer science fellow, you talk about these technologies, but how we can use it. Always I point that I talk from the perspective of a non-computational thinkers. That means those who are not from a computer science, still they will be able to get into this and can utilize this in a best way. Then only the real output of computational things will work. That's keeping in that mind, I made all these content into this. So maybe a declaration before I start the session. Not magic will happen, but still what is important for a teacher before we do a technological intervention into my classrooms. Sir, is it suitable for all of our classrooms? You may be teaching a management subject, you may be teaching a finance, you may be teaching a different types of courses. Somebody may be a marketing, somebody may be finance, somebody may be a different, maybe a lean operations, somebody may be geography, somebody may be science. But is this technology will work for me? That is second part. We will look into that, how it effectively uses. First part, what you should look around is, the subject, what you are going to teach, you are thorough in that. That means you should be a master in your subject first. Whether you teach a maths, science, arts, or commerce, or management. First, being a master in my own subject is the first step towards the journey in the technological interventions of tools and techniques in my classroom is this. That means know your subject first. That's why it is not like no digital tool in the world as of today can make a magic like one button or make any tremendous change in a one instant click. It's not Instagram to just do an instant work. It is one click, my subject will be directly delivered to my students. No, that will never happen. We must know our subjects. When I know my subjects in and out, concepts, case studies, demonstrations, and really necessity examples which are required for my class, when I know that, I will be able to put across all other things into this. When I don't know the base itself, whatever tool I'm showing you today or whatever the techniques I will tell you, that will not be useful directly into us. That is where the first part. Remember always, being a real teacher is, I should know my subject. I should know the art and craft of teaching. We were never a teachers. Remember, we were never a teachers from the beginning. We just studied, we just gained our master degree. I think after that, we maybe some of us are with PhD and maybe joined into a course where we are trying to teach it. From the birth, we never been labeled as a teacher. We didn't know that we are going to teach, but we learned subject and we passed through the degrees and then we are entering into the teaching world. But for all other qualifications are post, you see that there is a requirement. So engineer only can be an engineering work. Medical doctor only, doctors can be with a medical, only they can do it. But teachers is not that way. Only except that high school or a PU level, there is a B.Ed, but apart from that, there is no degree we don't have. We have only some degree, you should have it, then only it is possible. To ensure that that quality goes into that, first is no subject, art and craft of teaching. What is art and craft? It's like where, when I should make a stress and give importance, what I should use, and then I should be able to make my ethical commitment for it teaching. That's very, very important. Then only you will become a real teacher. Keep that in mind, and then we can discuss all other things which are required for us to work on. Now, 1 second. I will keep my window on the side away. Okay. What do you think now? Online teaching, what we are talking right now, which should be the beginning one, which 1 second, yes, something happened. Okay. Online teaching, what we are talking right now, is it about a technology I'm talking about? Is it a pedagogy? These words may be a most common words you would have heard in the last 4 days in a more, because of an outcome-based technology, pedagogy, methodology, methods, techniques, outcome, assessment, assignment, most common words which you would have used. But what I'm trying to talk here is be very clear. See, I don't want to just run around the bush and then go somewhere and then give some other data and then go from this. After 2-hour session, you said, oh, I attended one FDP session and I also feel that, oh, I did one session. No, I never want to do that. At the end of maybe another 1 or 2 hours of time, you should be able to gain something and then you should carry out this and utilize it in the next moment. That's why I'm asking you, teaching through these technologies, what are we talking about? Is it only the technology part or maybe a tools, or is it a pedagogy parts? Generally, it comes into mind people that, oh, we are talking about online teaching means it's only technology. Some people say that, no, it is a methodology which they're trying to adopt it. But in reality, it is both. Technology as well as the methodologies to use that in the classroom. We need both technology and pedagogies. Then only we can work out and we'll be able to succeed in this. Fine. Few points I'm trying to bring out as a base for my session, and then I'll try to bring out with the exact real one. Now, okay, sir, we have learned, we have heard, maybe last 6 months was our experience time. According to me, 6 to 8 months of March to November was the experiment time for us. And most of the execution is happening on this. If you would have seen that in the month of April, May, hundreds of webinars were happening and everybody was talking, and we also have attended many, and we were going on with it. So many things was there together and it was working. Now at the pace at which we moved, it was in a different way. Because if you think that I know PowerPoint, I know MS Office, I know computer software, I know Zoom, I know Google Meet, I know WebEx, I know Microsoft, something like these tools I know, sir, that is enough for me. And all latest one I know, sir, it is all Zoom 5.0 I know. Is that enough for me to handle my class? Think the technology, I'm not talking about like tools 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you know it is no. It is the methods you should adopt, or you should know how successfully you can incorporate these tools and technologies in your classrooms while teaching, which will make a good sense is what exactly we need to know. Without that, if I give you 10 tools, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tools, and then it may not be applicable to your subject, then what's the use? We may teach, see, WebEx, who thought of Zoom will be useful for us? I have heard about these so many tools, and we were doing a lot of meetings at all, but we never expected that this becomes a tool for us to teach on every day. Have a webinar like this or FDP like this through online platforms. No, we never imagined, because we never gave a thought for Zoom can be for a tool for teaching. No, Zoom was for meeting. That's all. That is how our mindset was. Now, teaching with technology means you should know not only the latest tools, you should know how successfully you can use this. For example, this picture, what you're seeing on the screen right now, shows you 3 aspects. The student is looking at the screen, which is a device which shows some design or a shape with the color, and the student is expected to do the same work in the same platform, on the same area. Physically, he has to do it, he or she has to work on that. By looking at that, say he's looking at the screen and then trying to do that work, the tool is just helping them. It is not the tool is replaced by a teacher. No, tool is just helping them to do that work at all. That's why you could see these Byju, Vedantu, so many tools which have come at all. It cannot replace the teacher. It can only supplement. It can give only additional extra online video-based tutorials. No, it can never replace us. It can only give supplement to our work. This example is like this. The tools you should know, and then which tool will help them to learn what? Color, shape, organizing, and the thinking capacity will be able to enhance only when they utilize this tool and techniques properly. That is what we are exactly telling. In our subjects also, if we are able to do this, we'll be the successful teachers ever. It's not easy, it's difficult, but step by step we will be able to go through and we can work. Why are we telling this? Why we should know that when it will make sense? Reason, if you could look at the screen, this is what is happening right now in the internet. Not before, not later, not tomorrow. It is right now. In the last maybe 3-4 minutes when I spoke here right now, multiply all this by 4 now. Every 60 seconds, these data are generated. This much of valuable information data which is moving around. That means around 243,000 photos are uploaded. 7 lakh hours of video content only exclusively, only video is uploaded. That means around 400 hours of video in 1 minute. And this goes on every 365 days, 24 hours. This keeps on going and getting uploaded into the online market. Whether we want, I don't want, sir. I will be away. I am very good in my subjects. I'll teach with my black chalkboard and I'm okay with that. I'll use somewhere required PPT. If I'm away, you are away, but all other things are still happening. That is the reason why you should know these things. Why I'm showing you this reason. Whether we teach it in class effectively or not, all these data are accessible to our students, which was never for us. We never had these opportunities when we studied our undergraduate or postgraduate with this much of enormous amount of data. No. When I used to study it, there was only one book on artificial intelligence in Bangalore. Across Bangalore, there was only one book in one of the Asia's biggest book showroom. There was only one book on artificial intelligence. Today, you name any course, any company, any place, anywhere, everybody talks. Even management talks about this. Even stock market is now talking about an artificial intelligence to do the trading. So everywhere AI came, but earlier the access of information was not there. Now this is there with your students. Keep in mind, before you start the real work, keep in mind, this is what exactly happening with your students. They are able to get and full complete knowledge of the resources. Right or wrong is different, but they're able to access it. Certain times they're right, they will be able to get this. Google also gives them a good amount of information and it is going through these parts. This is where we need to give. If I'm going beyond this, then they will listen to me. That's where I said, how do I hold my students in my class is the first basic challenge for every one of us. I'm teaching online. I'm expecting them to do some work as well afterwards. You ask them to post something on an Instagram where 65,000 photos are uploaded in every second. They're happy to do that. But you ask them to do about your subjects? Never. They don't want it. And we are also happy to, they are happy to swipe and see their, if you ask them, find out how many photos posted by your classmates, they will tell you in 1 minute, the entire thing they will try to grasp and they'll give back the answer. But you still the same thing. Any new article about my subject is in any journal, you find it? No. They take 2 days, but still they'll say, no, I don't find it. Ma'am, I'm not getting this. This is how the result comes. Why? These are all the information which is there in that, which is not directly we are forcing them to use for our subjects. And when they sit in my classrooms, it is also expected that what you are going to teach me beyond your regular classroom is what they look at. If you teach the same thing which is there in this Google, where 3.8 million searches which is happening, in that itself there is a data, why do they sit in our classrooms? They may not. So they expect beyond this.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, did you change the slides?
No, not yet.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
There is a way in which it works on something like they expect new things in your classrooms, then only this will appear. Otherwise, they will be keeping that, oh, I know, see, any subject, you know that, as maybe here there are no students specifically, I can point out and highlight, name a topic, go to Google, just type the title of the topic, :PDF or :PPT. Are we not getting the output? The student does the same thing. Any topic, management theory, :PPT, the whole PPT is from a SlideShare, which is owned by LinkedIn, will appear. Quality content presented by some other student or some other faculty in some other university will come. So that means they are able to access to information, which is, we are showing the same PPT in my classroom, then there is no point for them to sit. That's why the interest comes down. So we cannot do that part. We need to go ahead with us. So what is the first step towards that? If your student is not learning the way we teach to them, teach them the way they want to learn. Their expectation is what is shown in this picture. They expect like your subject content to be like a movie. And virtual movie they wanted to listen, and they want to understand everything. Where the credit goes, where the debit goes, they will be able to understand it. They want to understand what do you mean by branding. They want to know that what is digital marketing. They want to know what is your subject, how the finance groups, institutions are working, how this market is working, how this our economic is working, dependent. All that they want to watch it like a movie. They want to experience it like that. But what we are doing it, we are just doing with our blackboard or a chalkboard. That is where the mismatch happens. The current generation wants our experience of a class in a multi-different mode. But we are doing in our own. Say, I learned it from my teacher. My teacher learned it from their teacher. Their teacher also learned from the same way. Same method. There are several teachers even today, they use their PG, postgraduate or undergraduate notes for teaching the current generation students. Hope you understand that. I'm not pointing at blaming anybody, but there are few faculties. Few of us will use our old notes to teach the current students. Concept may be same, theory may be same, or maybe the understanding will be the same, but with the examples, if you would like to do it, is what exactly we wanted to do it. There is where it works on. This is where you have to look around what can we change, how best we'll be able to do this works. I think now you are able to see the picture where screen, a person is wearing a VR glass. Somebody's written on the chat window that they're not able to see my slide. Somebody can respond. It is written as if students don't learn the way we teach, teach them the way they learn is the slide which is visible. Hope that screen is visible to you.
No, sir. It is still in the first slide. It's
which first slide? 1 second. 1 second, hold on. I will stop and then share.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now the slide has been changed.
No, can you just see here? Can you just see now?
Yes, sir. We can see that.
Okay. Now it was this previously? Yes. Okay, fine. Now you're able to see this. Okay.
If students don't learn the way we teach them the way they learn.
Yeah, okay, fine. Good. So this is where you need to know that, see, the way they expect it, our classroom also should go into that level. So we might have, see, there is a way in mind, our mind works is like this, because I have spoken to so many teachers and then personally talked to them unofficially off the record when I spoke to them. This is what comes into their mind. Sir, I have prepared today early morning for 2 hours. So my duty is to deliver it. But the other side, the student is interested or not, whether they are trying to gain or not, whether the knowledge is fine or not, whether they understood or not, no. Because I studied 2 hours, this is what is required. That is where it goes on a wrong. It is not the intention. It is our duty to transfer it, and we are supposed to do work on this. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, fine. Now, these digital technology, where it went wrong then? Is it we have not learned, or we know that, sir? Tell us. That is where the curiosity comes. Tell us, sir, what to do now. We know all these things. You have to tell us the next thing. This technology and internet has created a full-fledged correct context for us now to enhance the learning experience for both. Only problem with many of us is that attitude. You have to learn something new. Why a geography teacher wants to learn the computer, internet technology when they know their subjects and they were already teaching in a regular way? If you learn, it will be definitely useful for that. That is the reason why we have to change our little bit of attitude and start learning towards this. Now, there are teachers now, even in the current group also, as well as in the general groups, there are people who always say, sir, if I don't do, what happens? I'm okay with my level now. I don't want to listen to your session or any other things. I don't want to change, but I'm going very fine with my own. First is, remember that this same slide, I showed it on a decade before, and I said this is in next 1 decade, it will change. Unfortunately, with the reason of COVID, it got changed, but I never wanted that. But still, it made now the technology is the future. I don't want to say the future, it is right now. And it is going to stay for a longer time. And if the teacher don't replace their method and methodologies, the teachers will be replaced by the people, those who are teaching with the technologies. As simple. You will never be kicked out directly. There are a group of people who comes, youngsters who are entering into an education right now will come with a new technology platforms. That's where you could see that Upgrad, your Baiju or your Vedantu or your future learning, or all those things are coming up because of same thing. There are people who come with this, they will push us out and we will go out if we are not using this. So keep in mind, whatever I said is connected together and we have to get prepared to start our journey towards these part. Now, there are, you could see in right now, there are many points are there. Theoretically, I don't want to waste in the afternoon time of yours, which you might have heard from many people. My area is only main 4 things, which is also marked here, which you'll be able to see it. 1, an active engagement of a student. Across your teaching, across your time of a 1 subject handling in 1 semester, you in every class, you should engage your students. That is where exactly required. Percentage of the teachers may be reducing. Of course, that is where the demand is coming up more. If you see the new NEP, National Education Policy, they don't want everybody to be a teacher. They want only the quality teachers to come up. That's where, if you see the pay rise also, it will be more than double than an IT fellow will be in an education field after some time, which is not directly specified over there, but it is. I agree that somebody responded that the percentage of people will come if the quality conflict. No, we are not telling that everybody to be a tech savvy. See, we never had an option of using a mobile phone at all, but all of us are using it right now. All of us are connected with the systems. But like that, learn some more. That is not your major important thing. Mobile is not important, but without that also we can live. But it's supporting us our life. Similarly, technology can support your teaching, which can become more enhanced version of your teaching, effective way of teaching it becomes. That's what my point was. I'm not telling that everything should be replaced. No. Active engagement, participation in groups, my student should do that. Not only our students should do the participation in a group activities when it happens is more important. Frequent interaction is required, which is missing. We know that, see, similar like this, we are not seeing their face many times in the online. And we are not able to do the interaction as which was happening in the early days of the regular one. Even in regular, it is not like that. But if we use technologies, it is possible. Giving them a feedback is very less. If they write a test, we used to take a lot of time in corrections and giving after 10 days, we are giving them that this was right, this was wrong. But he will forget by 10 days that what he wrote and what he has not written. So it is preferably that given instant feedback that the knowledge level where he has gained or not gained, by end of the week, end of the chapter 1, he understands whether chapter 1 has gone inside his mind or not. If he's clear with that, that's a happiness. For example, at the end of this session, if you're able to say me that what you have listened here is understood or not understood or partially okay, about 60, 70%, like that, if it comes, it's more easy. If you say after 1 week or 10 days later saying that, sir, last Friday's session was not okay or it was okay, then there is no point in getting a feedback later. That's where the missing happens in our class. And connecting to a real world is not easy, which we were doing it from a long back. You can always happily do that. In one button click, you can call many of your ex-students or maybe alumni to your classrooms in an online and share an experience and then do it. These are all part which helps in technological aspect which comes into picture. That's where this helps in. That's the 4 aspects, only my major points, but there are 100 more people will talk about the technical at once. But these 4 which we'll try to cover up. Now, when we asked more people that, are you ready for these changes and start your journey in this, we will take you through step by step or one by one, you are ready with this. Many people said yes. Maybe unofficially or officially when the survey was done, are you ready for these changes in the March to November, our current pandemic? Other than that, the general technology into your classrooms. I'm not talking about only right now because of pandemic situation, we are doing an online. No, technological intervention is beyond our pandemic situation. It is every time, everyone has to do this. The reason which is getting required. Voice is getting lowered is not because of me. Somebody's mic is on. Can you just check with that? That's
I'll check it, sir. I'll check it.
Okay, fine. Now, if you see that readiness when it has come, the same question was asked. Readiness checking for Indian faculty members, Indian teachers. 48% of the teachers still prefer traditional teaching. Survey conducted in 2020 by Economics Intelligence Unit. In 2020 April May time. People said 12 out of 100 countries readiness, India is ranked on. That is where it comes in. What do you mean by readiness then? Sir, are we not ready? We have learned so many things in the last 4 days, 4.5 days. We have learned so many sessions right now. We are ready with a lot of things now, even outcome-based studies. We will be able to do plan our course plan, outcome-based effectiveness, evaluation, everything we are ready, sir. Okay. Readiness is not that. Readiness is how much capacity you have to access the internet. Does India is ready? Does your college is ready? Does your students group is ready? Wherever they are right now with the capacity of internet to do the work, including there are few skills, cultural acceptance and supporting policy. If a student does not have a technical support, is there any team or a person who is near campus who can help them to do more? We are all telling them, hey, connect with mobile, connect with laptop, come and attend my class is what we are telling, the same dialogue. But are we ready to help them in getting them to come to onto the onboard? Any problem is there? Maybe 1 or 2 teachers are definitely doing it at all, but there is no specific cell or a policy which says if the student does not get it, what are we doing it? If the student does not attend the classes for a longer time due to the technical reasons, what are we doing? Any special classes? No, those things will never come. That's why the readiness is not just like I'm ready with my laptop or I know that my tools is not ready. Your capacity of every student and you, including as a teacher, to access internet, basic skills, that is where the using the software is a basic skill, including some skills. Cultural acceptance is because somebody may be okay, somebody may not be. See, there are many houses in which we don't have a room, can separately sit and do my sessions at all. It is all the one cultural way in which they were all into, that also should be considered, and then supporting policies. But India still stands on 12th out of 100 countries in the basic readiness. Overall readiness, we are on the 46th rank. But we are okay. We should be able to take it and then work on these parts, and definitely works. Then what could be the basic challenges? I'm not going to too deep theory for this because the session requires, the heading requires that. That's why I'm covering this as a first part, and then second part is all digital tools. First is, are you ready? Ask yourself that. Are you ready with the techniques, methodologies? And the early days, you would have seen that. Asking a question like everybody should get mute and then mute your video was a common things. We didn't know that, including me. I'm telling that, see, many of the faculty members did not knew that where to click for a mute, where to click for a video. Each software has different buttons. Everything was difficult for them to understand. Is our students, we never prepared them, right? That is where the missing is happening. We never prepared them with the technologies, but we are telling them that use the mobile phone, use the laptop and come to my class is not done. Are they familiar with technologies? Are they familiar with Zoom? 1 or 2 days they will get familiar, but starting days, if they don't get properly, it is very difficult. Stable internet connection till today is a problem for many of us. Should I use an open software or institutionally supported software? Our institute says use Moodle, and some of my faculty members says use Google Classroom. I am more easy or comfortable with Microsoft Teams. What should I use now? See, this is where the conflict starts at the beginning stage. Somebody said something, because of that you are using is a different situation. Because your institute is telling you that this is a standard one, use it, it's a different situation. But you like personally different software which is more comfortable for you. Which one you will choose? The first preference is always, that's where the challenge comes, but there are options are there in which we'll be able to use it. That's what we will see it how. And I'm not giving an answer directly to this. By discussing the tools and technologies, I'll give answer for all of these things, what is specified here. Can we avoid cheating in an online mode? Very difficult for us. Sir, how is the assessment and assignment has to be done at all? I think my third session covers the same part, but few things are covered even today. Can we avoid cheating in an online? Sir, we are giving questions. They are writing in their own. Google form is given. Some other methods we have given. Some test is given. But how do we check that whether they have not copied from internet? Just few seconds before, a few minutes before I said internet is the world. You go and click on a Google and just like right now, okay, Google, tell me answer. My phone tells me all the answers. Siri, tell me the answer. Alexa, tell me the answer. Any question you say, they will get basic details, may not be depth, but the way in which we ask the question is also most of them direct. That is where your workshops has to concentrate, or your FDPs have to learn is how well I'll be able to frame my questions, which will answer my students' capacity so that they'll be think and answer back. Enough support for your technology is required. In an online teaching, whether it reaches to all kinds of students. What do you mean by all kinds of students? There are several kinds of students who sits in our classrooms. All are not in the same range. Some who is an above average, some are average, some are below average. Whether I teach in the level of online, see, online may not reach everybody at all. The eye strain is more for most of us, like sitting 2 hours continuously in front of this, listening for some people, then looking at something, and again working on the same thing may not be feasible for all students. So my teaching mechanism has to adapt in such a way that it covers all. That is where I should look at. That's a basic challenge as well. How do you supervise it? That is, supervision on the students is not easy. Now also it's a 40 plus attendees are here at all. We can't keep an eye on all 40, right? So it's very difficult. There are methods which I will tell you, which can be done, but very difficult at the beginning stage. How do you evaluate them? Just by listening to their answers, are they able to think? There is the writing skill is required, written skill, execution. That's where your taxonomy comes, right? Where application level has reached or not. Don't know. How do you do that in an online digital mode? That is what is important. You have to learn that. That's why all these questions are more, but answer can be in a smaller, solutions can be found out for this. Plagiarism, another biggest question. Anybody, whomever I spoke in the last 1 decade, when I talk about technology, digital terms, first question they will ask, every teacher. Sir, my students will answer, is fine, but if they have copied, what is the problem? Or how do I get to know if they copy from internet, copy from their own friend, from their own classmate, somebody writes for somebody, is a big question mark. We have an option to check that. Generally, they may not be, but in digital mode, there are ways in which we'll be able to check it. But there are terms of cost-wise also, software's implementations can be avoided, and without that, with a hassle-free, easy methods are there in which we'll be able to work on. Large crowd comes, there are combined classes come, 60 plus 60, 120 students in a class. How do you manage them? And some newbies will come inside my class and they sit in my class, and we don't know who are they. And some new names will, Rahul Gandhi comes and sits in my class with the name. Maybe sometimes Modi comes and sits in the class. These are all the cases which was in the early days. Later, there are ways we found the techniques in which we can avoid even that. So large crowd managing is not easy. Somebody is asking one question, somebody maybe in theoretically, somebody wants a practical application, somebody wants a case study. We should be able to plan. That's where you would have learned. I was looking at the schedule, what you would have been covered in the last 2-3 days, where the planning and process of your course plan is most important. That's where all this, what I discuss also comes as this third column. One more extra column on your course plan, where you will be able to attach. This is the topic I'm teaching. This is the method I will use. This is the technique I will apply, and this will be the outcome. So if you plan it in a column wise, it's more easy. That helps us in controlling a large crowd, where I'll be able to do that. Some questions, maybe if I'm asking 3 questions, 1 question for everybody, commonly they can answer. Second one, some people who are above average can work on this. For below average can think and work. And one last question, which will be a tough question, where an above average is a good rank student can think and answer if they know every concepts. So minimalist to maximum, we need to frame our question. Single question itself can have 3 parts or 3 different questions for 3 levels. Maybe slow learners, fast learners. We have to combine all that in techniques. That's where this point comes. And is it same, sir? I already prepared my content now. So whatever you are showing it today, can I use the same content for online? According to me, no. You cannot use the exact same content. 100% we cannot use it. partially we can use it, because here the way I engage, I do some of the works which is different than compared to the complete offline works. So online strategies has to be different and it works. When I show some more tools, and maybe tomorrow digital tools is only the one session where you'll be able to work on that. Then you'll understand that how to engage and how to control them. Student attendance is also a part difficult. Some people switch on and they will keep the mic and video off, and they log in and they vanish. Don't know, at the end of the class, maybe they'll come back at 4:15 again. Okay, say thank you, bye-bye. We feel that they were present. What is the guarantee that they present? But attendance is given because they were present. Physically may not be. In online comes, it is all, these are the things which has been started. And they also know that what is to be answered. And they make it as, sometimes they say the mic is not working, a camera was not working. Maybe for a second is fine, but students found a lot of ways to cheat us in all those cases, but we should be smart enough to handle it. How well best we can do that? There are certain cases. Time management is also another one which needs to be answered very well, which requires more of our work, because in class we used to see their face and we used to work with them and we used to interact with them and we used to ask them and we used to instantly do some work over there. But here it's very difficult. Looking at some camera, looking at some screen we are trying to talk about, and no direct interaction. Getting adjust to this itself is a more difficult, but within that it can work. That's where in online. But otherwise, general technology, even in a classroom, I'll be able to use it. There are tools which will be able to adopt in both the cases and we can work out. And at the end, finally, supporting a student is also more helpful. But these are all some of the points which I found it as challenging things. Anybody who is shifting from a regular mode into an online mode or a digital mode or technological interventions into this. But how should we look into this? Can we get a solution for this? Very simple. Look each challenges as an opportunity. Learn something and you can do it. There are many ways to do it. I'm giving you one simple, easy way is consider this is the right time. No other way, we would have taken another 10 years to make these many number of faculties to use an online platform for the teaching. Definitely it would have made us another decade. But just because of this COVID, more people have at least saw what is mean by online, what do you mean by methodologies to use, adopt into online, how well we'll be able to get adjust to this has been seen. Maybe in a bad way we jumped into this with a bad reason, but still it is a good option for us to do it. Take it as an opportunity, learn it and explore yourself more. The more you explore, more you become familiar, then it becomes a regular one. See, regular teaching also, first remember your first day, first class with your first students group. We were maybe sometimes a little nervous and sometimes maybe excited, sometimes maybe very enthused, and we go in something and it ends up in somewhere. But as the day moved out, and we were happy to do our own classrooms in a best possible way. Now, I know that we are all experienced, and then we go, give me any class, anywhere, any platforms, any number of students, including even made somewhere 1,000 people were there in one of the conference when I went. It was okay for us now because we adopted to that change as and when step by step slowly. Attending these webinars, FDPs will definitely give you one or the other way different content from different people. Will be able to learn. That is where your constant updation happens to you and it works. Innovate more. Nobody stops you from this and you have to go through only single method or same process, same method. No, you can. Peer learning is most important. Don't hesitate to ask your peer or your own colleague who is sitting next to you, or maybe who's next to your home or next to somewhere near to your own department, in other department, it is fine. Ask them what the best possible method they are adopting, you adopt that. What best possible you do, you share it with them. That is where the opportunity helps us in gaining this. This is all general. Below is where you work with related to our current topics, where it comes with outcome based. Plan your course in advance. Means what? In advance is just before delivering it. It's not like 1 hour before I'm preparing it. At least a week before, plan everything. For next 1 month, you sit right now and you can plan. That's where we call it as course plan. It will solve most of your requirements and most of the problems we face in a general way. This will be helpful. That is where step by step you have to do that. We call it as technically as a course plan. Course plan is planning my course which can be delivered to my students irrespective of, please note in a quotes, irrespective of which teacher delivers it. I should prepare a course plan. Planning is day, time, topic name, module name, methodologies, evaluation process, techniques, technology, all 7-8 columns in one sheet, in Excel sheet, and take it for all the weeks, week-wise, hour-wise, class-wise, do whatever you wanted, comfortable for you, but that should be there. In advance, you do it. And all those things will have every requirements. If you prepare a course plan and I use it, it should be. If I prepare a course plan and you use it, definitely it should be useful. That means irrespective of which teacher goes and teach, no, it is for universal course plan you should prepare. That means it is not for you. Some people does that, preparing a course plan for their own purpose. That is not what we are doing on this. We are expecting that I am preparing a course plan that should be applicable to all of you. For example, I prepare course plan 1 for branding. Digital branding is the subject. I will prepare a course plan. I give it to all of you one copy. If you know the subject, any of you will be able to take that with the little knowledge of following my course plan is more than enough. Just follow what is written there. You'll be able to complete in exactly 40 hours or 60 hours syllabus. You'll be able to complete it. Planning, everything is done by me, and it is actually execution is your part. Similar way, you should plan your course in that. So it includes even a slow learner and a fast learner, whether to go slow or whether to go fast is also part of that. That is where the planning comes. Always go step by step. That's my theory, my concept. I request everyone to adopt that. Don't jump into a big ocean and then say that, no, this is very vast and it's very difficult. No, step by step is always slow and steady wins the race. It's not too slow, but step by step is always what is required. Instead of that, sir, I know this, tell me this because my colleague said this tool is good, duty. No, your requirement for your subject, what is good, first take with that and you can start working with that. That's where most of our theory covers. I think 40 minutes, 45 minutes is fine. Most of our, when you know this, these things you would have heard from many people. Maybe 1 or 2 things I would have added, or maybe extra things I would have said. But otherwise, generally you would have done all this conceptually understood by many of you. Now is a question, sir, how do we implement it in my classroom? Please tell me. That is where my point is coming at all. That is everybody's question is that, sir, how to do? This everybody will talk. We know already, we have understood from last 6 months, we are listening the same thing at all, but everyone. But tell me now, how do I start it? Say how, where, what, when, the basic question. Before we go to the step 1 of this, try to know a few things. You might have jumped into this. Right now, situation, what this picture says, I'll tell you. From the regular face-to-face class, we have jumped into a method called as E-intensive method. That is what right now what we are facing is. There are 2. This end was face-to-face, which was regular before March, before BC, before Corona. And now after Corona is a different one, which is generally works like this part. That is where it comes. Definitely, I will be able to help you on with a course plan. Full face-to-face when it comes at all, a basic change which has happened from there to here is, that's why I'm showing an arrow mark, which you could see here, this arrow mark, which is coming from there to here. There are few people who have jumped from face to face because we were doing very happily with a book. We are happily doing with our pages, page, pen, book, all that we were doing it in regular interaction with our students. Sudden jump happened to a E-intensive. Few people, there are categories. See, out of 100 people, if you take that, there are 50% of the people who jumped from face-to-face into an E-intensives. There are 20% of the people who have jumped from that to E-focused and then E-incentive. Another 10% would have jumped from E-enhanced, then E-focused, they intensive. Another last 10% maybe from face-to-face, then basic use of ICT, then E-enhanced, then E-focused, then E-intensive. That 10% never had a problem. That means from face-to-face to E, the current one, e-teaching, or you call it as digital teachings, they jumped step by step. Always it was easy for them. The sudden jump what we made is the basic problem. That is why I'm pointing here before we do are showing you some of the things which you need to understand. In a class, we were having a basic technologies like a PowerPoint or a video or showing something on my screen and a projector was there a decade, 2 decades before. Somewhere OHP projectors was there when I started doing it, teaching on a long back. Even in year 2000, my teachers used to teach me with OHP projectors where they used to write on a transparent sheets. That was a day. That was face-to-face. And maximum technology means that one. Then slowly ICT came into picture. People started talking on 2002, 2003, 2004 time at all. Electronic files, PDF, PowerPoints, handouts all started coming out. Only luxury people used to use it. Our good colleges, only those institutes used to have it. Slowly later it reached to everyone. Then it has changed to E-enhanced mode where resources, use of discussion, forums, online learner communication happened. Then E-focused where interactive materials, assessment, test, formatives, assessments as well as online discussion started where we called it as E-focused, which was a few years back as well. Now what we are looking at is a complete whole module courses will be delivered and addressed and moderated online. Keep those words: courses delivered, assessed, as well as moderated online, available online, reaching online, interaction with online through students. So those who went step by step, fine, easy. Some of you might have done that. It's very easy for you. Those who have not done, for them, it was like a flip. One flip from that to this side is what has happened. Suddenly, like, they don't know what is happening with their life. They are forced to learn some of these things, institution force or colleague or peer pressure or student pressure, or maybe survival part. Sometimes in a job, they did an online part without knowing what exactly the steps. See, if you don't know these steps in between 3-4 steps, many steps are there, but I just mentioned it as 3. But if you don't know, sudden shifting, we may do. I'm not telling that we are not doing it. We are doing it, but not knowingly what exactly we will do it. But that may not be effective. That's where we are losing control of our students. If you would have started a class of teaching to your students, you would have realized, starting mode when it was in a month of June, when we started teaching to our students, the Josh was like 200%. Both for teacher and students for the first time it was. From July, it was 150%. Then maybe in August, it was 125%. Then slowly it came to by September, it was 70%. Slowly it has come down now. We all had a full Josh, but you could see, if there's a class happening today or yesterday or day before yesterday, some other next week or last week, you could have seen that our interest has gone in that. So we are losing somewhere the passion of the regular way we are doing it. Why? The students are not able to hold them in the right way. And we are also not able to control and putting across. That's where without knowingly, we are just using one online tool, whether Zoom or WebEx or Meet, something, I'm trying to use it. That should not be the case for our teachers. That's why I'm putting this very clearly. Intentionally, I put this slide because we should know, have we jumped or have we gone step by step? If we are not, we are supposed to go it. How well we'll be able to go is what we should decide and go. Now, that's why I said my theory part are over now. Now, practically, you should come back to picture like how, what, when, where. So 3 steps are there. 3 methods are there to choose. Which one to choose my class now? Based on that, tools, digital things can help me. Face-to-face, which we did earlier, a traditional method, regular mode. Online mode, which we are doing it right now, where teaching, delivery, assessment, moderation, everything happens through online mode. Sir, whether some people still, that's why 52% chooses online, 48% still chooses face-to-face. That's how the ratio in an Indian scenario right now across India in all places. School level, still they choose that face-to-face is only better, but in higher education, there are partially 50% is online, 50% is face-to-face, non-accessible internet. But most preferred method is the third one, which is called blended mode. Even not only now during pandemic, not only now in the online class, in future also, when your regular class starts as well, always I prefer, which I train many of my faculties in my own campus as well as across the almost South India, including our middle part of India, whomever I've trained with thousands of faculties, I always prefer, tell them that please do read, understand, and implement blended learning. It gives you a very good result when you do a regular teaching mode. It is not for, sir, because online doing, you're telling all this. No, I'm not teaching you or I'm not telling any of these things today because of it is online teaching. I'm telling you very clearly that do blended mode in all cases. Keep that in mind and do it. How it effective, I'll just show you that. What do you mean by that blended then? See, that's why the mixture symbol is there where you blend everything, put across everything and try to blend it. That's where it helps you. One, it is much better than your regular face-to-face as well as just online. Just regular, just online is combined together, blending will help you. Some part we need to be online. Somewhere I have to go live and talk to you people and then given a description is fine. Imagine that your entire slide, if I would have given you a PDF and asking you to go through, read and find out. And those points which I explained, additionally examples and other things may not come. Only you will read through slides, what is point written, that will only 6 points per slide you will read. Otherwise you will not understand. That's where blending is more where you need to go talk sometimes. Sometimes you need to give them to make them read. It's a mix up of both will work always good. Satisfaction in a student mindset for his continuous engagement for learning and teaching is more good in case of blended. Several learning styles are there. Student learns, let's say slow learner, fast learner, better learner, with example learner, visual learner, auditory, or any type of laws. It will combine everybody and gives a good result. And it enables you even personalized learning and instruction. Many of you may know that word you might have heard, personalized learning is more important. Personalized means what? Every one of you who are there here, around 70 people now, 70 plus were there at all. So 79 people, including me, I think. around 75 people, none of you have the same level of learning style or learning capacity. It's all different. Some of you may understand very fast, some of you may be very slow, some of you may be moderate, some may be very different. And if with example is given, most of the people might understand. So personalized learning is your my content should be good enough to catch up to every one of you. At the end, everyone should be able to understand. Some will like example, some will have video, some will have a case study, some will have explanation, some will have a theory, some will have more work, some will have different things, is what exactly we look at. Those individually, everyone feels that, oh, this content is made for me only because it has video, it has all games inside this to play. Somebody may feel, oh, this is full story, audio is coming up, that's why it is very good for me. Somebody may, oh, because of pictures, it is made for me only. Every one of the student feels this content is made for me. But actually I've done for overall, but everyone personally feels that it is made for them. That is where we feel it is personalizing their learning experience. When they feel that, you don't need to worry. You prepare once, hard work is only once, and then leave it, automatically they'll be able to gain that. And independent and collaborative learning, both are possible in case of blended learning. That is why we call technology should come and sit here, and you should be able to work with these parts. Now, one simple sample questions. I expect you to answer in a chat window. Use it, don't worry. Your name will not be announced and no winner prize is there, but still generally I want to understand how well we have ready to go ahead with the technical things now. Because when I start technical things, you should be able to understand what I'm talking about. A student is sitting in a library, he is referring for multiple books. He's going and just reading over there, and he's also making some of the notes for that, and he's checking internet for the solutions. For an answer, he's checking over there. This is a best example for two modes of learning. Is it synchronous or is it asynchronous? If your answer is synchronous, type A in the chat window. If your answer is asynchronous, type B in the chat window. It's okay. What comes to your mind, it is fine. Irrespective of it is A or B, it doesn't matter for us. Whatever you have understood, it's fine. If it is fine, I'm very happy to continue. If it is not, I'll give you a description and I'll do it. See, there are a few people who are saying A, a few people are B. It's fine. I'm not naming anybody. I'm not knowing anybody. Everyone knows that what is your answering. But for yourself, you answer it. It always gives you good enthusiasm. Some people are definitely answering it as A, B, synchronized. Some people are saying asynchronized. Good. Think again what I'm trying to convey. One student sitting in a library, he's using multiple books and he's making a notes of it. He's checking the internet for his solutions and he's learning. He's doing some of the homework, maybe learning or he's reading, whatever it may be, but this is happening with use of internet as well. So what could it be? It is an asynchronous or a synchronous. Few of you out of 70, around 10 people would have answered. Same scenario happens in our classrooms, correct? 75 students are sitting. When you ask a question, 10 students will respond back. How do you engage them more? Wait for one more day. I will show you. See, I'm not doing it today because I want to know how your mindset is from the last 5 days. Then I will try to give you tools or techniques in which I can engage all 75 together. Now, I may not be very familiar with the name. I have to find you in the window and then I have to ask you one by one. It may not be. Some people are selling both A and B. Maybe fine. Synchronization of multiple things. Maybe it's okay, fine. Why I kept this is, it's okay. I'm not so happy because of only 10 people answered, but maybe 15 people might be. I know how to get the work done from everyone. I will tell you techniques, maybe wait for a day for that. Okay, fine, good. Thanks for answering. At least few people are happy to know. See, that's where you'll know how many of your students are engaging with you, are able to answer back. Some of them may be not listening, some of them may be listening, some of them don't want to answer, some of them may be partial. It feels A also, it feels B also, I'm not sure. So that's why you what is asynchronous. This case is different. I will tell you the answer. But in generally, we should know, right? What am I doing it every day? I go online class, teach and handle my classes and come back. I interact with people over. What was that kind of a class? Because terms came into picture in the last few months. But this is there from the last 2 decades. Because when my first project started as a major research project on ICT, these words were the first one. And I started writing a book on that. What is synchronous? What is asynchronous tools? Because of people have to know this. It's not keeping with me is no use. That's why I did this question also. Correct answer is this is an asynchronous example. It is not synchronous. That's why you should know what is synchronous, what is asynchronous. The answer is asynchronous. But why it is asynchronous? Why not it is synchronous? Sir, he is doing internet, he is writing down a lot of things, he's interacting with the system and he is doing everything. Just hold on. Know what is the difference, then you will know that why I'm telling you about this. We'll come back to that. There are two aspects in teaching and learning when we do it. One way is synchronous, another is asynchronous mode. Best example is this to understand. I put all my points in this so that 4 points is easy to understand. One, the right example, don't need to read or study this. I will give you example, it is easy to understand. The right now what the session is happening, an FDP series 1 of your outcome-based learning, an effective way of handling with digital tools is an example of synchronous mode, where I am live, you are live, and we are interacting and we can have a schedule. This was already planned. See, student interacts with a live trainer. Exactly, it's happening. You're interacting with me. You can ask me a question. I can ask you. You can answer. I can answer. And we can talk each other along with our class goes on. Isn't first example for synchronous. Learning is scheduled. This schedule was already given to you a week back before. And you know that today is my session and I'm going to start at 2:15. And it was already decided at 2:15 to 4:15. So time is given, date is given, person is given, schedule is already planned. Everything is in advance. It has a fixed start and time, which is asynchronous. It may extend 5 minutes here and there. We started 5 minutes late. It may go 5 minutes extra. It's all fine, but it is a part of synchronous mode. And learning is linear. Why linear? I have a plan. I know what to teach, what after that. My slides are planned here, and you don't know what is next slide. So it is my plan. Accordingly, according to my course, what this session, these are all the things I have to plan. So accordingly, I have placed it. After this, they should learn this. I don't want to teach you first only tool number 1. I want to give full base knowledge, strong enough to be online, and then you should jump, is what my idea. So I made this. So this is the best example of synchronous. So then what is asynchronous? Asynchronous is where is exactly a student learns independently and potentially in isolation. That means there is no, remember, many definitions are there in the world. If you go to internet, you will get confused more and you will not understand what exactly, because definitions are given technically, which we will not understand. That's why I make it more simple, easy. Everyone should understand. Every student who learns independently in his own isolation mode, maybe in his home, maybe in the library, maybe in the room, maybe in the hostel, anywhere where there is no necessity of live interaction with me when he is learning. Live may happen, but not during the asynchronous learning, need not to be with me. Teacher need not to be there, not necessarily. One. Second, learning is available anytime and potentially anywhere. He can learn at any point of time. In the mobile, he can learn. In the laptop, he can learn. And he's sitting in some people even sits at somewhere in the balcony and they read, and the steps they read it. In the window, they sit and read. It's okay. And early morning, they read. Midnight, they learn it. Late after they watch whatever binge. Netflix after watching 12 hours and then after that they want to read it. It's okay. It's their own time. We can't do all those. It's fine. That means it's available anywhere, anytime, potentially everywhere is what asynchronous. Two. Third, it may not be in linear mode. Here I have a linear. Let's say I had a plan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slide. But in this asynchronous, even though we tell them to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, but student want to see what is our example first. He wants to do the example first, and then he wants to come back to theory aspects. First, he will see the drawing, then the video, then he'll come. But actual requirement is we want them to go through theory, then make some pictures, and then video, then understand the example. But they are happy to see the video first. It is non-linear form, which is called free form. So student goes and learn in his own way, in his own method is what exactly done. So you should know it. As a teacher, what are you doing it? That's where it comes, right? Your challenge is there, your opportunity is there, and your implementation methods when it comes the third part. You saw challenges, you saw some of the small solutions, but not exactly, but later. But the third part where it comes reality, implementation, before you start, first know what is this. Am I going to do a synchronous classes or am I going to do an asynchronous classes? Then only you can do it. When I should do a live class, when I should do non-live classes, see after this session, if I give you simple homework, these are all the things you should do. The reference materials is here. You go read, watch, do, active, participate, and submit is asynchronous. During the class, your interaction happens is synchronous. So when it comes to the library, The example which is shown here is asynchronous because live interaction with teacher is not happening, as well as he is using the internet to find his own solutions. It is self-learning. He is only learning, but in the path in which I want to make him learn is given. That is where maybe in non-linear, maybe in the free form, maybe in the linear form, it is fine. But to do this, we have tools. That's what is most important. Two exact categories in technological interventions in the classroom, very important. Where, sir, how should I do now synchronous classes, or how should I do my asynchronous classes? There are plenty now. Earlier it was 1, 2, we were talking in number. Now it is in hundreds, not 1, 2, hundreds are there. So at least we will see few which can help you to do this works. Hope these logos gives you a familiarity of your own work. That's why I asked yesterday, what tool are we using it, except that remaining I put here. I'm not using a Zoom here because we're already in the Zoom. So we're using a Zoom tool is one of the synchronous tool, remaining or all of this. Can anyone say what is the common thing in all of this, including Zoom? Google Meet, WebEx, Microsoft Teams, GeoMeet. I don't know whether you heard it or not. It is there by Reliance. It's called GeoMeet. Big Blue Button, which is a part of Moodle, a plugin which is available inside Moodle, which can be used for a live classrooms, YouTube Live, as well as Facebook Live. So what could be the one common things among all of this? Anyone can answer. I'll just give you a few seconds. Try to think and just get me an answer which can tell me exactly what am I. Somebody said connectivity. Of course it is. Helps to face-to-face interaction. Correct. Live. Of course. Yes. Perfect. Beyond that, some more thing which is happy for all of us. We will be happy to listen to that. That is what my point is. Online sessions. Perfect. Audio, video, interactive. Yes. That's all part of the feature of all these things. One happy thing is, these are all what is listed here. There are 100 more. That's why I'm telling you in 100 in numbers. This is what I'm talking you is right now. Is few which are commonly used across all our educational platforms. Our teachers will use plug and play. Very good. This is free. Many of us may not know that, but all of this are free. 100% free. Zoom, free version is there. Paid version is also there. That's why I did not specify over there. Google Meet, free for 100 people, unlimited number of hours with goes on. Use it as much as you want it. WebEx, of course, free. Many of us may not know. Sir, WebEx, Cisco, free. Yes, it is free. Up to 100 participants, 45 minutes, lifelong. I can use it as many days without anything. One registration, I can call 100 people. I can use two, WebEx meeting, WebEx personal room, both I can use for unlimited, possible. Microsoft Teams. Sir, is it Microsoft Teams free? Yes, it is free. Up to 250 users in a single time, up to 10,000 if permissible with a user one, it is fine, workable. GeoMeet from the Geo, obviously free. Big Blue Button within your own institution with the Moodle, free, which is your for all YouTube Live, which is also free. Many of us may not know, many of us have seen, many of us have watched, many of us have done it, but it is free. Facebook Live, obviously, even WhatsApp Live now it is free, but WhatsApp is for limited number of people. Facebook Live is for large number, YouTube Live is for large number. When it is a limited numbers, all other things are there, but everything is free. But remember, all of this is for synchronous. Synchronous means live sessions where an interaction happens between you and me and teachers and students on a platform where it is completely on live mode. That is synchronous tool. So remember these points when you go ahead and discuss at any point of time. These 4 lines should be there in the mind so that your tools usage will be easy for us to work on. What does this one slide which gives you full description of the tools at all, because I need to give a description or maybe demo of other tools I have to specify. I'm just trying to do with this. If your institution is already using a G Suite, which is called as Google for Education program, I'm happy to say that you are having a tremendous opportunity to use that, utilize it. If your institution is not yet done at all, request at least a coordinator or HOD or a dean or some other level, some faculty could take initiative and make it as a part of this, which is fully free. A part called as Google for Education program for an institute, completely by the Google. Full suite is free for you for a lifelong, and you can utilize all tools and techniques for unlimited number of users. It's completely available. A part of that one tool is called Google Suite, which is Google Meet. It's for an online video audio conferencing. It's for an online conferencing part. Up to 100 participants, every one of us can use. If we are buying an enterprise, I'm telling about free. If it is an enterprise, means enterprise is a paid one. Enterprise, if we pay, then 250 people is possible. If it is enterprise, up to 1 lakh people also can work in this for a live streaming is possible. Otherwise, live streaming is not there. Normal recording is possible, which we can do. Real-time caption. When I'm speaking, my words comes in the bottom, just like your closed captions in the YouTube comes. No, my translated English terms can come like this. Free for all 100 participants, 60 minutes per session is for general users. Anybody who has a Gmail account can do that. Anybody who's having a G Suite account, that means institution collaborated account, can do for unlimited number of times. 1 second. Oh, something happened with my mouse. Then additional extensions are there, third-party plugins which can be done. And additionally, good thing is that it all happens in the mobile applications. That's the best part to do it with. Now, long back, I used to show that a lot of new features are coming out to this at all, and you can use with that. Now, whatever we are experiencing in this Zoom, all facilities are available right now, except one, everything else is available. Hand raising, day before yesterday released in Google Meet, it's available. Any student can hand raise, and we'll know that who is asking me a question, I can do that. Digital whiteboard on the screen itself, I can use it and write something. Custom backgrounds, what we change in the Zoom, no? So background can be changed at all. Custom backgrounds we can put in. Larger tiled windows, the example is shown in the left side. New knocking and access control. I can control that who can come to my meeting, who cannot come to my control. Earlier it was difficult, now we can do that. Locking a presentation screen was, and chat window was the most important option required, which is all available. All 6 is available. 7th one, muting all in one button, is yet to come. Next week, I think they are releasing it. Remaining all is fine. Opening is easy. Meet.new, go to browser and type, you'll be able to get this synchronous tool. Meet.google.com also can work, or start from a Gmail, go to Gmail, click on a Meet, you can start. Any of the method you follow, you'll be able to use your synchronous mode, tool number 1, Google Meet. Similarly, sir, I'm okay with my WebEx. As you said, is it free? Can I use it? Of course. This is a free for all all users who creates an account in the WebEx, which is possible. Just go to webex.com and create your account over there one time. Use any email address you have. Create up to 100 participants. HD video, good clarity, good controls. Limit is only in the 100 participants and 45 members. For any number of days, as long as you wish, you can use it. There is no limit on that how many days you can use it. It's completely good one. Requirement is little extra bandwidth is required. No tools can compare to like the Zoom, which will use very less, but others are using more. But WebEx uses little. It is a encrypted version, so it uses a little more bandwidth. But otherwise, quality-wise, control-wise, it's very good. And enhancement-wise, security-wise, it's very good, and we'll be able to use this part. Third one, which is a Microsoft Teams. Many of us may not know that at all. There is something called as, maybe your institute also can go ahead, or individually also you can work out. For example, if I don't have a MS Office in my system now, generally MS Office is Word, Excel, PowerPoint, basic requirement for any tools to start our class, interact, write, do anything. We need PowerPoint, we need Word, we need Excel, we need basic software, these 3. Sir, if I don't have a software, can I use that? Yes, of course you can use that in a website called as office.com. Many of you may not know that, but you can try it. There is a website called as office.com, office.com. If you use that, you will be able to go there. It will ask you again to register there with your institutional email ID, as you specify that if your institution has a G Suite or your institute has given you an email ID, use that email ID and you can log in, and it will create you an online version of Office 365 fully free. Every software, you name it. Now in Office, we'll get only Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access. There you have 17 softwares. All softwares are free online. Exactly same Word, what you do in your system is available online. No need to download, no need to do anything at all. Go there directly, type it, take a print, save as PDF, do whatever you are doing, it is possible. Along with that, another application is called Microsoft Teams. It's another small software, which was earlier, it was a separate software, which was in a different one. They combined it, called as Skype was also there. Remember in 2001, Skype was on number 1. Even till today, we never utilized Skype. We never thought of using a Skype for an online classroom. It was only considered as on conference mode we will use. It was mindset was of the conference. Now we never had a class. Now see, Microsoft Teams was also made for conference earlier. Now it is like 48, 49 people can sit together and you can have a class in that at one single screen. But you can have up to 100, 200 people can be there in this, and it is fine. It has got all together. Your all software inside this, as well as your chatting, your sharing, your video is all together. That's how it exactly works. That's why having a desktop as well as mobile apps. GeoMeet, I've tried it very less, not used too much because of its bandwidth or connectivity is not so requirement and not a stable version at all. Definitely, I will do that part. Some question was there in the chat, but definitely I'll do that. Which is where consider on these parts at all. See, it's anywhere, anytime, any devices at all, and it is done. They have done it as B2B call, business to business calls or support for this. Even educational platform also has come out in this at all, and it is fine. You can, if you have used this Zoom, using a GeoMeet is nowhere the difference. It is 100% exactly. You could see the screen on the left side. My PPT right now on the screen slide next left side. 4 buttons are there. Same exact look of Zoom is there. In mobile as well as in online, no difference at all. It's as simple, similar to the Zoom only they have done it. Everything works like similarly, and they call it a safe, secure, easier to use at all. But it's not so stable when we compare and we work with a large number. Not so stable, but it is fine. Tool is available. Need to specify it, done it at all. That is where it comes. Now, there was one question also. See, which one to be used this now? So many tools, right? So which one to use it at all? See, some people say that, sir, is it good to go on YouTube live always? If somebody comes and asks me some question live session, we were scared as a teachers. A lot of times it was scaring for us. Like if someone comes and asks me some questions, what should I do now? Is it good to go ahead at all? It is very, very difficult. If you have subject knowledge is poor, we cannot help in that case. So requirement is know your subject very well. So all these will help you to, or maybe supplement you to make a strong and good enough to work on. That is why we specify. So which one to use at all? According to us, if it is for a lesser than 100 people, Google Meet with the Google for Education program is the best suitable option, because most of our class is 60 to 100 maximum, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, 80 to 100. That's how the range is in most Indian colleges is the range. So few classes may have more than 100, but I'm not recommending. If it is less than 100, if you feel your class is 100 less students, then please use Google Meet with the Google for Education program. Sir, it is 45 minutes of class. Can I use this security purpose synchronous level at all? WebEx. Remaining, we don't recommend as of right now. Sir, Microsoft Teams is okay for me at all. Personally, you can choose that. As an institutional, should not recommend too many number of tools for them. Maximum, you should have 2. Minimum 1, at least maximum of 2 or 3. Not more than that. The reason, if one goes down or one gives you technical problem, others can always solve it all. It is up to you to do that. You can be working this at all. Then there are a few questions comes. I will try to take that after some time so that I'll be able to cover some more things. Geo, there is even a recording has some issues with this at all. There are so many other things. I'm not against them at all, and they're trying to do something good for us. So if it works, definitely works. And it's still in a stable, not in a complete one. Beta version is right now working on those parts. Not a complete release is not their official release. Once it comes, most probably it will work. With the Geo Broadband, it might work at all. Now, what is asynchronous tools then comes? Sir, only 1 or 2 tools are there? No. There are many tools are asynchronous tools. Inside that, the first category management systems, learning management environment, learning management software, you call it in different names. That is a first category which comes in the asynchronous tools. In asynchronous, there are 100 more tools which are available for all of us, not only for LMS. Sir, can I have interactivity in my class, sir? How do I communicate to my class is also a tool. How do I organize my class and my entire effectively is also a part of this. That is where it comes as base part. You should start with 1 and remaining all is a sub branches of this. So first is because why this is important also you should be able to understand. First is, for example, today's class, I have so many things, but I have cut down a lot of things here because usually I don't give so much of theoretical explanation. I will show demonstrations as well as I will give the video samples. But now through online, too much of difficulties. Sometimes it's hearing, not hearing, technically coming or not. I try to avoid that. That's why in online, I try to reduce that. But I cannot say that right in a class. For a video example, you go to YouTube with this link and watch it and come back. For a reading, you go to this Word document and then watch it and then come back. For references, you read this link and then try to work out. And these are all some examples which is shown on the screen. Please read that or note down and work on, come back. You listen to my class. Imagine what is the mindset running of a student. Sir, what did you say first sentence? They'll come back again. So video is here, that side, and audio is this side, and then homework is that side, and then maybe examples are on the other side, and screen is for home, some other details, and I'm also talking. Which one do they concentrate? somewhere they miss. It is not easy. At the time of teaching our class, my students and myself should be concentrated towards an interaction, facilitating, and then I should just give them the more of experience has to be given in that class, not the theoretical aspects. The experience comes only by few things, not by everything is possible, everything with class will be converted to experiential class. No, wherever possible, we should be able to do. And after the class, for an asynchronous mode, let him go and find out what are all discussed, what are all happened. Let him do it in a different way is what we look at. That is where asynchronous tools helps. So step number 1 inside this is learning management tool. If your campus, if your institute, if your head or if your coordinator is already suggested, if they have already taken, it is to be done. Every institute in outside India does this job, where I have interacted, I have spoken, I have connected, I have listened, I have seen. Is the institute takes the first principle. Maybe the head of the institute will always take the decision on which learning management platform has to be used. Then gives a freedom to the department level to do, or maybe the deanery level or department level to choose from that and then use whichever is more comfortable. Not showing them forcefully them, because the technical support can be given by them. Otherwise, you go and use on some other tool number 1 and they don't, the management doesn't know what is that. If something error happens, who will be responsible? So technical support should be from the institute level. That's why you should follow that. So we prefer, with the 2 decades of experience, I'm telling you, the tools which we use both are these, Moodle as well as Google Classrooms. So Moodle is also one of the tool which is gave us a lot of confidence in doing an online work. Recently, in the last 8 years, I think Google Classroom gave us a tremendous help in conducting an online, all the platforms and very versatile. And we were the first to test Google Classroom before even released to the market. We were the first to test this and then give a feedback to the Google saying that this is how it should be and these are the features. Fortunately, most of the features what we requested has come, and 2 more features are yet to come on that, and few more are coming up on the way. But that's where it gave us a confidence that okay, these tools helps us. So only these 2 are available? No. There are more. You could see that there is outside India. If you see that Stanford University, they use something called as Sakai. It's their own. Western Michigan University uses Sakai. They never use Moodle or Google because they have their own way. This is also different one. That is also different. But A-Tutor is there. My Course is there. Schoology is there. Microsoft Teams is also a bundled version of LMS together. It's a Microsoft Teams, including a video conferencing tool inside that. So that way, when you look at that, see these 2 are the tools which will help us. Out of this, which one we recommend? See, suddenly if you go to Sakai, can't I use it? Sir? It is made for US schools and colleges. System is like that. And suddenly adjusting it to our Indian education system, we may feel more difficulty, not like we don't want to use it. That's why the more comfortable one, which is good, is under Moodle, which is developed by free and open source community, Google Classroom by Google. So that's where these 2 tools are the one, at least in your classroom, the beginning step number 1, you should use one of the learning management system. It should be a Moodle or a Google Classrooms. If you do not use this, you may be using it already. I'm happy that somewhere you'll be using it, at least one of these. So it will be very good at top. This will help us in many ways that this how we will be incorporating these 2 parts. That way it is fine to work on. Why do we need that? What do you do in class? Technology intervention is fine. We will talk about after some time. And what do you do generally in our class? See, now I showed so many examples, so many things, case studies, examples, maybe a PPT, video or demonstration, pictures, images. Generally, these are all sharing a resources. Maybe a class, document, pictures, research paper, or example, case study, anything it may be, it is all called as resources. Resource for reading materials. Those resources I want to share it with my students. 1, share any type of documents. It may be an advertisement, it may be a paper, pen, or printed materials, fine. Research papers related to my subject topic. References, lot of references I would have done from different places, across places, 10, 20 references for you, which will be given. Links for a website, which students have to refer for additional reading purpose is all major. That's your part 1. That means we will share it with our students for the purpose of read. That is where we give it to everything to students is part 1. We share. That is where sharing resource, document, research paper, references, website links is from our side. Includes video, audio files. We want, right? Say this video you watch it, it's good for them. These are all called as one side, teacher giving it to students. Then what do you expect from a student? You do assessments, giving a test, giving an assignment, asking them to do some work and then give it back to you is what you do. Then you will have discussions. Then you give a feedback to that what they have given. Then your feedback to them is also what is to be done. So that way, two parts runs always in an online platform. That where we need one platform at least to do all these works. You can't do all this in different ways. Some people are even still sharing notes in the WhatsApp. After 1 month, you imagine that how many number of notes will be there in the WhatsApp. Swiping itself become more difficult, not easy. So don't use that kind of a platform. Use one which is always available and which is good for you to work on. So one of these two at least start using as a basic platform for you to work and start using in the technologies. So all other things what we discuss will come above this. This is the foundation. The first is the step number 1 is where it could be used. That is where it will be helpful. Sir, is it something we need to know something technically? There are two aspects. There is no programming required, no coding required. Nowadays, you would have seen that in online TV advertisements everywhere. Learn coding is the most hot topic which everybody talks on. Your kids should learn coding. Your other people should learn. So many things are doing. No programming is required. Don't worry. It is not for a technical person. So you need not to. Only one person in your campus must know what a way or steps to implement Moodle into your campus. One technical person is more than enough to get the Moodle into your campus, and he will manage everything. He will do the work of mapping students, teachers, and you just have to use it. That's all. You are just a user. You are not an implementation of the software. Software is implemented by somebody and you have to use it. So in your classrooms, that's why you need not to worry about that. It's open source. Cost-wise, if your institute asks some money is required, no, it's completely free. And it is by open source software, so you can manage, modify according to your requirements. We have done that. We have done according to our own requirements, lot of modifications we have done. We have released it to them also. Even you can download and start using it. It's always fine. It is always available, and you can take it from any others. You're already using it. Is fine. And there is a huge, big community who can help you to do this work. In Moodle, can we do these things, sir? You should know why are you using that. In synchronous, in the LMS platform. Inside that Moodle, what can we do it? You can share all these files. So these are all the files which I generally use for my class. I can share all these in one click. Click, drag, drop into them at all is fine. It is gone. So that it becomes more easy for us to work with this and easily transferable to them. So if I feel right now, these files should be given to the students. No need to send one by one or email or by anything. I'll just drag, drop into my Moodle course and all students will be able to access it in one click. Only one click. Just click, it goes. So students will all get a copy of this. I don't need to send 60 copies. I will give only one copy. Every student gets their own copy. They can read online, they can refer it online, they can download and they can see it is possible. That's where we share it with them to do more work. And they can also, after reading, they should submit back. It is fine. That is where we implemented. And I'll show you a case study where I use this part, how it will be done. Sir, is it only giving it to them? No, second part, you can conduct a test like a multiple choice, match the following, single word answer, true, false, quiz can be conducted, discussion forum can be started. Some students will sit in a class, will never open their mouth. Even in online, they will never open. You have to make them come up, let them talk back is possible with this, having a discussion forum. Let them open and tell what exactly they are feeling. They have to type it. They have to read, they have to answer to their friends and here, there, that will work out. Wiki, where it is generally a kind of Wikipedia pages can be created, lessons, you can create a workshops, online text, questionnaires, you can create and ask them to get a feedback. That is all possible inside one single platforms. Now you see, both the aspects, you want to share it with your students, all these type of files, you give it to them. And in response, you would like to get back all these things from them, definitely possible. So both the aspects you will be able to cover it in one single platform is possible. This is a sample screen I'm showing you, which we did it for undergraduate programs at Christ University. And approximately there were 8 modules. That means 8 courses, I think 7 modules. 7 modules were there for this. This is a rule by Supreme Court. One second. There were 7 modules, and these 7 modules has to be taught to the undergraduate programs as compulsory subjects. So compulsory subject means it is around 3,500 students have to learn this course. Teaching everybody with the number of faculties, you cannot provide so many numbers. See, we need hundreds of faculty members to teach to 3,500 students with so many classes, 50 classes, not easy at all. That is the reason where we wanted it to go on online mode. So again, teaching is not the only part, and evaluation is also to be done through the online mode. So we created one full course with 7 modules. and all was made available to 3,500 students. And those people have gone through this course, learned by themselves. And then interaction in between we provided after every unit we had an interaction, so they can come back to live and then ask a question, answer it, and then they can go if there is a doubt. Otherwise they can go on reading it. At the end, evaluation is also done through. So this was helped very well, and it worked for us in a better format. So when we are giving you such kind of things, is it good to do it? This is another example where in my own subjects you can use. Sample I'm showing you. See, test is also on this. Here also test is done. Here is an assignment. There is a reading material. There's an image for a references, 3 reading materials for the word, and additional link is also given. This is how when we drag and drop it looks like. This is not the real course, a sample I'm showing you, and one course where they'll be able to learn. A course can consist of everything, where interactions with the fellow students, with the submission, with the online, with the test, with the reference material, with reading materials, and interaction with the chatting with the faculty, each should be there in one course. That is where you will find it as, wow, everything is in one place, so I don't need to copy every day. Student will not worry about copying every day notes. See, in most of the online sessions also we will be worried about, some of them at least will be worried about, sir, can you send us slides? Sir, can you share this? Even before we start, they start asking it. The reason is it's not to collect it. All these are available. At the end, I'll show you all these. You do not to copy or you do not to worry about this. All I kept it somewhere online, and link I'll give you. You can share it directly available to you. So when that comes to students, I don't need to write down anything. First of all, that's a mindset should come to student. No need to write down. Listen to them is most important. When they interact with you, when they try to do work with this, they will be happy to listen to you and then interact with you. That is where it works. Why Moodle? As of now, considerably, the Moodle is on the top with the number of users and customers, and in online situations, it's one of those which is coming on those part. The second part which is comes is, sir, I'm okay to use another way. Moodle requirement, what is the drawback? You cannot do it individually. You have to depend on somebody who's an IT admin, who's an IT person in your institute who does all the setup, and then you can start using it. Then you can do it. And you need a basic level of training one. The other one is where Google Classroom, base advantage, I don't think so you need special training on this. Base training is enough for this, and you can only start yourself. You don't need to depend on an IT person. That's a basic advantage. And it's a part of it's a small software which is a part of a Google for Education program. Google for Education program has all softwares which is shown here right now. All are bundled together. It's available as one single program called as G Suite or Google for Education program. And this is where it is available to everyone. They can start. This is how it looks like when you open it in an online platform with the right side where online mobile, in the mobile also it is available, or on the system you'll be able to use it and you'll be able to access it. That's where your first thing starts. So use it on a laptop, on a PC or a tablet, or on the mobile phones. Same feeling or experience of both is available that can be worked out with this. Started as, this is the major one. Why this was created? This is majorly for blended learning platform. Remember why we discussed over there, blended learning is good. Now we are giving a platform which can do the same work. A blended learning mode for a college or institute or university who can aim at simplifying, creating, distributing and grading your assignments in a paperless way. This is what introduced. Google Classroom came because of that, and that is where they are using it, trying to use with this. It was on 2014. I think we are using it from 2013 itself, before the official release, and it was good to know that all features which are earlier, see, only schools were there to do it with this. Later it has been expanded to a number of people. 3 major advantages if you use this. You can collect the assignments online. You can improve your communication with your students and talk to them how and what tools to use. Next, now almost theory we covered. Next we will see only those tools how to do with this. Apart from this, Google Classroom helps us to do in those cases. Finally, stay organized. That's most important for us. Now, for any student, it is very easy if he knows that Unit 1 notes are here, Unit 2 is here, Unit 3 is here, Unit 4 is here, additional references are here, textbooks are here, assignments are here, examples are here, videos are here, audios are here. In an organized way, whenever it comes, it's more easy. You give every day one differently, then searching itself will take half an hour for him to read, which we found it. Later, maybe whenever possible, maybe tomorrow also is fine. I will try to show you a demo of those. It's exactly one screenshot, which will help you to know that, wow, this is how a classroom should be like. Then it is more easy for everyone to know that, and maybe after 6 months, 3 months, some of your organization or maybe head of the department or a coordinator or a dean asks you, what did you do in the last 1 semester in your class? If you're organized already there, just take a printout of that grade sheet or the entire class and give it to them. Sir, this is how I manage my class. Sir, this is how I did the entire work with this and last semester, and this is how it will work. They will also be happy, and it is there with you longer time, longer times. And after 5 years, sometimes NAC requires 5 years data. Your UGC requires 3 years of data. Anybody who asks you any data, you will be able to give it to them in one click, because it's already organized. You're already collected. You already communicated to them at all. How easy will it be to communicate to your students in one click, on the go, in the mobile, assignment or a communicate? Say tomorrow morning there is a special class at 8 o'clock. General communication means people are thinking it's a WhatsApp communication. Click on WhatsApp and send it to one student, and he will forward to group, and we are in group, and it goes on. But according to the UGC and NAC or MHRD, WhatsApp is not official. It can be used for your communication, but not official communication of your all information what you're sharing. So there should be an LMS, which will institutional LMS, which would be useful for them. One of these could be this, and you can be able to use this one. And this I not sure whether the sound appears or not. This shows you a simple example of how a classroom works like. It may be a few 30 seconds it tries to show. You will get a class code. You can share it with your class. Students can join here. You can type there. Commenting is possible by both students as well as faculties. And you can interact with them, you react to them, and they say it is fine, and you will be able to see all your work in one single page called as classwork. See how well it is organized. Unit 1, Unit 2, you give an assignment, you give a specific date, add some data to that, let them personally read it and do that work. Attach a videos, share it with them. Give it to see, you can schedule, you can assign, you can save a draft, you do every of these things will be available, be able to work with. Organizing is here, so you can also move up and down, able to do all these things. You have a grading tools where you give a marks. You will know how many submitted, how many not submitted, how well these will work, how best this can be kept. You give a comment to them, most important for a student. Give marks, return back the marks to them. Just like how we do unofficially, same way we can also do it unofficially. We can do it. More time to teach, more time to learn is what important. See, on the mobile you want to do it, you can write there, edit, comment, notations can be done there. In a PDF file you can do that and send it back. More time to teach. That is what is the aim of a teacher should be. That's where my point is coming. Using all, if you know the basic terms, concepts very clearly, tools which can help me to do that, then our classroom will become more effective. This is maybe the maybe level down to zero, ground level, maybe level 0, a ground level is supposed to be your one basic platform. Apart from your synchronous, you should have an asynchronous is the level 1, which is supposed to work on. So how do we start working with this? Those who already started, those are already working, very happy, continue doing it more. Suppose you may forget, sir, how do I create a class? Sir, how do I add students? How do I send a link? How do I give an assignment? 1 minute video, how to create class. 1 minute video, how to create assignments. 1 minute video, how to do this one. That can be, should be given. This is available already in this called as playlist, YouTube playlist, where you can learn this. Try out with this classrooms and more things you can learn. One more link is also provided. Don't worry, all these links are kept it in one single place, which can be used and which will be useful for you. It can be done on this. You can ask me. The final slide, I would like to end today's session by saying this: let's start. It's not the end of the session. This is the starting of the session, where you have to start, at least learn some of the basic stuff from these, and then try to start from this. At least consider this as the beginning. I should know the terms, techniques, technologies, concepts, and tools, and then we can start. Now the foundation has been done, laid today. Then above this, sir, how do we construct our classes through some digital tools and techniques? In tomorrow's sessions, we will definitely see. There is no more theory now, so we'll directly start. Sir, how best we can communicate, what are the tools we can use, and for organizing, what tools are there, for engaging, how best the tools can be used at all. And that way, we'll be able to see some tools at all. Tomorrow is all small demonstrations, which will be helpful for you to use it in your regular classrooms, and that will be helpful. Can e-learning and online learning term interchangeable used differences? Okay, somebody's asking me questions on this. Yeah, give me some time. Course plan, definitely I will show you a sample. If possible, I'll share it with them. Somebody is asking a course plan because I gave an example. Tomorrow, definitely I'll show you a sample. My own course plan is there, which I used in a recent one. I just need to open it. I'll keep it open. Tomorrow, first with the course plan only I will begin. I'll show you a sample. Don't worry. I will share it so that even sir can also share it with all of you as a sample course plan. Well, definitely will do that. E-learning is electronic learning. In any platform, in any way, we will use learning which goes in an on the mode, on electronic mode is generally considered as e-learning. Earlier days, it was only a text, it was only some book which was kept on documents which was kept on online was an e-learning. Now the term became online learning because the mobile started coming, tablets started coming, and laptops started coming where interactive things are. It's not just like reading, it is you have to interact, you click, you read, you write, you do all those works is what you're supposed to do. It. More interaction started with that. That's why the term has been enhanced. So using both is fine. Both are online term which can also be used on this. Intentionally, I will show you something. That's why I end my session with a start that let's start, let's earn, and let's begin our journey in an online platform is what I would like to do it. Then this is where I try to show it. You people keep asking, no, so sir, slides, can I get that one? Can I do with this at all? See, I have not, how do we get all these things? It's somewhere like you have to start learning somewhere. I work as in one place, and then I also work at an office where it is in part of a university where I work for conducting all these part of students interacting. I train students, I train faculty members, and I train other faculty members of same city, same campus, other campuses, other colleges, other universities, and everywhere. So whoever wants it definitely will be happy to do that part. But these are all the things which has to be gained. Nobody can give you. It has to be earned. You have to earn these certificate, badges, everything. It's not like you just attend, you get is not the one. It has to be earned. Earning means it is you have to perform little more. You have to work more. For that reason, I'm trying to show this. You can also do it, and I can do it. At the starting, I was happy that he was reading something related to me, and then he said appreciating me that I have done certification, this and that. It is not that way. It is possible by you as well. You can do it. A non-technical person can also do this, which will enhance your teaching mode is what. So any resources, whichever was discussed today, plus additional tools that are prepared for you. Bottom screen, right side, yeah, right side bottom I've written here. You can see that it's a wakelet/@vinay.m is written. So note down that website, and you can contact me through LinkedIn or phone or WhatsApp, Twitter or Instagram. Anywhere is fine. But Wakelet is where my professionally official all these details which I'll be sharing with you. So that's where it goes. You'll be getting all these data. Don't worry about writing down, taking print screen, then writing a copy of this, saving all this, not necessarily. You will get all of this in one single. You'll be able to get that, and it works with you. Thank you so much listening to me with the interaction as well in the afternoon. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Except that course plan I definitely have noted down here. Then I'll be get back to you with the sample course plan and tomorrow's. First thing is that only, then digital tools will be discussed. Any other things you would like to know, please let me know. If it is not answered, definitely you can sit down and then let know the sir. Then he will let me know. Then I'll get back to you with all the details.
Sure, sir. Sure. I'll let you know if any queries come from the participants.
Yes, yes. Anything is there? You
requesting. Yes, sir.
Afterwards, also you note down and then let me know. Then I'll be able to happy to answer them.
Participants, if you have any questions to ask to the resource person, you can unmute your mic and you can ask your questions. Or otherwise, you can also post your questions in the chat window. I think one question is.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'm calling from Mysore.
Tell me, sir.
And the online classes we are conducting in MS Teams.
Okay.
MS Teams. And is there any differentiation between MS Team and Google Meet, sir?
Sir, both are two different companies, two softwares. Comfortability of a teacher and a faculty, you will be happy to use that.
Right.
Both has its own pros and cons. It's fine. If you are comfortable with that, definitely go ahead and use it. Good.
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir.
No.
Vinay sir, one more question was actually posted in the chat window, which I would like to read for you. One Professor Amardeep Kurukwar had actually posted this message. He started the message like this: at his institute, I do teach operations research, deliver lecture and record the sessions. 1 second, sir. And record through Zoom, then use WhatsApp group for live numericals, solving problems, solutions during class, then use Google Classroom for sharing all kind of resources, feedback, assignment, test, quiz. Could you please comment, could you please suggest one single platform where I can do all this sort of exercises in one single platform? It seems he is teaching a quantitative subject and for which he is using multiple platforms.
Write and explain.
Yes, yes.
I got it. Now, simple AC, either you have to use one. It's okay. See, when we use multiple things at the beginning, that's where I said, without knowingly or knowingly, we started using multiple things. It is all fine. We started with that. But finally, when you want to end it, you have two options to do it. I prefer always you go for Google Meet and Google Classroom together as a one single place, or use a Microsoft Team. Whichever the tool you use it, but the writing part and explaining part, if you have a touch screen, it's always good to do with a pen. And a Wacom board, if you have it, using a pen and writing is also fine to do with that. But unfortunately, many of us may not have it. You have to do it with an explanation. Single platform, if you use a Google Classroom, it has a built-in Google Meet now. So you can have a recording, you can have the synchronous class, as well as you can have an asynchronous class, and you can have an assignment, you can collecting feedback, all what you're doing it can all be done in one single platform. It has got a Google Meet, which has got assignments, control, all together, all in one solution. Either you go for a Google Classroom, one G Suite program, or go for a Microsoft Team. That is the most useful. Somebody was talking. That's I think. Okay, anybody's question is there? I think they have shared the feedback form as well. We'll be able to give that.
Sir, shall we close the session?
Yes, sir. Done, sir.
Participants, if you don't have any questions, with all your permission, I'm concluding the session. Dear Vinay sir, words would not be enough for thanking you for sharing all the important aspects of online teaching among us. I also take the privilege of thanking you on behalf of all the stakeholders of this FDP for sharing your valuable thoughts. We are also looking forward to know more from you in terms of hands-on experiences in the upcoming sessions in the days to come. Thank you once again for accepting our invitation and sharing all your knowledge on this technical platforms with all of us. Thank you, sir. I also thank all the participants who have listened all this lecture throughout this post-lunch session, very patiently and participated, very actively throughout the session. Once again, I thank all one and all present here. Tomorrow's session will start sharp by 9 a.m. Thank you all. Thank you, Vinay sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.